to study this particular chapter, this chapter number 5 and 9, let us look into the MCQ 1 for the Jan 25. Let us look into the MCQs given over there. Right? Let us just have a look into the MCQs given over there. Okay. Right? So let me open a particular MCQ. Yeah, over here. Right? So I am in the, over here, the MTP, right? One for the Jan 25 attempt, right? This is the question paper over here. Okay. Right? So let's start. Case scenario 1. While auditing A&J Industries Private Limited, CAJ decided that it would be appropriate to examine 100% of the item comprising turnover of 30 crore as reflected in the financial statements. In this regard, he has designed test of detail for transactions forming part of company's turnover. Right? So for turnover, the CA has designed the test of detail, right? Test of detail. The sales function is automated in the company's information system involving repetitive nature of calculation. Further, in respect of designing TOC pertaining to the turnover, he is in a fix. So TOD he knows, but TOC he is in doubt. While verifying the turnover of the company, so I'm talking about the audit of the sales of products and services, right? So that's our chapter number 5. CAJ ensures that all the sales are correctly recorded in the books of account based on the invoices and the discounts have been properly adjusted. That means the amount of the invoice. Similarly, in respect of verification of employee benefit, so एक तो turnover check किया, फिर verification of the employee benefit expense reflected in the financial statements. He ensured that TDS related adjustments are correctly reconciled and accounted for. So यहाँ देखा discount, यहाँ देखा TDS. Then Ankush is an article assistant who has recently joined CAJ for practical training. He is also a part of the team assisting seniors. He has read about assertions. There remains doubt about assertions in his mind. He noted down the following points about assertions as per his understanding. Assertions are the representations made by the auditor. Oh my God, these are the representations made by the management. Assertions are generally explicit and not implied. No, they could be explicit or they could be the implied assertion. Verification of the assertion helps the auditor to find out whether financial statements are prepared in accordance with AFRF or not. Yes, that is why we check each balance sheet item and each PNL assertion. In the normal course of business, the company also holds a part of goods as a consignment. While verifying the assertions related to inventory, he ensures that inventory held by the company as consignee of goods on behalf of third party is excluded from the inventory. बोले कि जो third party का inventory हमारे पास है, that's not our inventory. It is the other party inventory. So it should be excluded from the inventory. Based on the above fact, answer. Okay. Right, considering approach of CAJ in respect of TOD and TOC related to turnover, which of the following statement is most appropriate? Approach for designing TOD, TOC is proper. Approach for designing TOD is proper. However, it is unlikely approach for TOC. Approach for designing TOC is proper. However, it is unlikely approach for TOD. The approach for designing TOD as well as TOC is not proper. तो पहले में बोलते both are proper, B में बोलते both are not proper. Now here what did they say over here? Right, that the sales function of the company is repetitive in nature. So in respect of designing the test of control, it is in a fix. Whereas for the test of detail, it has decided to check the transaction for the company turnover. So because it's repetitive in nature, does not make any sense for doing the TOC over there. You check one control and the same control will be there across all transactions, effective or ineffective. So the approach for designing TOD is proper. However, it is unlikely approach for the TOC. Which assertion is being verified by CAJ for correctness of recording of sales on the basis of the invoices and the TDS adjustment for the employee benefit expenses respectively. Yeah, so sales may, they want to check the discount, and in the employee benefit expenses, salary expenses, they want to check the TDS. That means in both cases, they want to check the amount of sales, the amount of the salary. So is it existent? No, it is not the existent. Is it ensuring that whether all sales have been recorded? No, it is not all sales have been recorded. Right. Is it measuring that is sales recorded at the correct amount? Yes. Is employee, so it could be A or D. And no. Even salary, what they want to check, employee benefit expense, is it recorded at the correct amount? They are not talking about all. So that is why the correct option will be A. Right? That is why the correct option will be A. Considering the view of Ankush, which of the following are false? Which of the following are false? Right? So assertions are representations made by auditor, false. Assertions generally explicit, false. And last one we've already said that is right, which is true. So 1 and 2 are false. 1 and 2 are false. As regards the matter of holding inventories of certain inventories of consignee of the goods, which type of assertion is being verified by the auditor? Right? So for inventories, what are the assertions that we have? ERCV and a balance sheet item. So are we checking for the cutoff of the inventory, that whether it is recorded in the correct accounting period? No. Then are we checking for the complete list, that only company inventory is recorded and third party inventory held by the company is excluded? So held as the consignee of the goods on behalf of the third party is excluded. So one, are we checking for the completeness? Yes. So obviously no rights and obligation only. So this option goes out. So what are we checking? We are checking for completeness and also at the same time checking for the rights and obligation also. That what inventory is in the name of the company, it should be recorded in the books. What is not in the name of company, it should be excluded. Right? So we are checking for both completeness and the rights and obligation. Okay. Right. So देखो, look at the level of the questions which they have made from the items of financial statements. Look at turnover, employee benefit expenses, then the assertions, SA 500, and then inventories as consigned. Okay. Now, case scenario 2. Raven, Manohar, and Piyush are planning to set up a new business for trading of electronic goods. They have heard in business circles that many entrepreneurs are setting up their organization as LLP. However, they lack knowledge about such legal structure. So they decided to approach CAS for understanding the difference between a partnership firm, an LLP, and a private company. They also want to gain the knowledge of the legal provisions regarding number of partners, paperwork involved in the forming of an LLP. Further, they also have doubts regarding maintenance of books of account and audit requirement for such organization. Raven, being cost conscious, specifically asked CAS regarding requirement of audit of LLP. And during the discussion, he shared that they are expecting a turnover of 5 crore and funds amounting to 50 lakhs would be brought in by the partners as a contribution. Manohar is concerned about the rules regarding the maintenance of accounts in the software with an audit trail feature. He has a vague understanding gained through social media that such rules have recently come into effect. Moreover, he believes that these features are useful only for auditors. To address his concerns, CAS attempts to explain these matters to him. After resolving their doubts, they decided to constitute an LLP named Blitz Product LLP with the professional assistance of CAS, who helped him in completing the necessary paper formalities. After constituting an LLP, they acquired dealership of few reputed companies and received a good response from market due to prominent location of their showroom and are confident of achieving their turnover expectation within the first year of the business. They plan to get their accounts audited after the closure of the year from CAS. The finance and accounts function of the business is being headed by Piyush, and he plans to contact him somewhere around August 24 for getting the audit conducted, filing income tax return, making necessary regulatory compliance on behalf of the LLP. Based on the above fact, answer the following. Right, so what we'll do in the other book of ours, let us just open the new textbook, the LLP audit chapter. Right. So, yeah, in this book, so that we can apply the legal provisions within a year. So, yeah, this is audit report. Features of audit of different types of entities. Yeah, and here we have the LLP audit. But here we have the audit of the LLP. And now based on the questions, we'll be coming back to this particular file. Okay, right. Which of the following is correct regarding the difference in types of organizational structure and the connected matters? LLP gives the benefit of flexibility of a limited liability of a partnership and good governance of a company. A minimum of 2 individuals are required to form an LLP and at least 2 partners are required to take the bill. The regulatory authority in case of LLP is registrar of firm. No, it is the ROC. So this is out. LLP gives the benefit of LLP of a company and the flexibility of partnership, correct? A minimum of 2 individuals are required to form an LLP and at least 2 partners are required to take the DPIN, designated partner. And the regulatory authority is the ROC, correct? So regulatory authority is the ROC. Right, now again, LLP gives the benefit of the limited liability of a company and a flexibility of partnership. A minimum of 2 individuals are required to form an LLP and at least 2 partners are required to take DIN. So your DPIN and your DIN. And LLP gives the benefit of an LLP of a company and the flexibility of partnership. A minimum of 3 individuals. No. Right, so minimum of the 2 individuals, that is right. Then it says ROC, that is right. But here it says DPIN, here it says DIN. Right, so it is the DPIN. Right, so B is the correct option. Which advice should have been considered by CAS to Revant regarding the audit of financial statements of LLP, considering the description provided in the case scenario? Right, so turnover 5 crore and capital contribution is going to be 50 lakhs. Right, so let us look over here. Right, what does it say? Turnover more than 5 crore and capital contribution more than the 25 lakhs. Then it says it is required to get its account audited. Right, so both these limits have been exceeded over there. Okay, so now let us come. There is no provision for compulsory audit. No, there are provisions. Every LLP is compulsorily required to get its account audited. No, there exists a provision under the LLP rules based on the twin criteria of turnover and contribution. The proposed business doesn't meet the threshold or the proposed business meets the threshold. Right? So the proposed business meets the threshold and would be required to get its accounts audited. Right, would be required to get its account audited. Which of the following statement is correct regarding Manohar's point of view? Right, so regarding the audit trail. Audit trail are useful only for auditors? No. Audit trail are useful for business as well as auditors? Yes. For business as well as auditors? For business as well as auditors. Okay. However, maintenance of accounting software having feature of audit trail is not compulsory for LLP. It is compulsory for LLP and compulsory for LLP having certain threshold. No, so it is not compulsory for LLP. It is compulsory for the company. Right? It is compulsory for the company, not compulsory for the LLP. Right. Which of the following statement is correct regarding PU's plan? Right. So let us look into the appointment of the auditor. What does it say? First year, the auditor has to be appointed before the end of the first financial year. Right. Before the end of the first financial year. Right. So at least 30 days prior, at least 60 days prior, any time before 31st March. And there is no specific provision. No. So what does it say? It needs to appoint an auditor at least any time before 31st of March, the first auditor. Therefore, PU's plan to approach CAS is not in accordance with the relevant rules and regulations. And considering PU's plan to contact CAS in August 24 for making the necessary regulatory compliance would lead to. Right, so now we need to look into the due dates for the filing of the annual accounts and the annual return by the LLP. Right, so it is required to file the annual return within 60 days of the closure of the financial year. And the LLP has to submit the statement of accounts and solvency within 30 days from the end of 6 months. So statement of accounts and solvency, they'll be able to follow, but annual return, they will be a default. Right, so annual return. So default by LLP in filing its annual return. Right, deferred by LLP in filing its annual return. Okay, now coming to the case scenario 3. Right, so that's the one LLP and they've made an entire integrated case scenario regarding the LLP. Okay, now coming to the case scenario 3. Varma and Associates were appointed as auditors for Royal Construction Limited for 23-24. During the audit, the auditors observed the significant amount of WIP inventory. Instead of attending the count, they relied on alternative procedure. These included reviewing the production reports, reconciling them with the recorded inventory level, and analyzing variance trends to assess the accuracy of the WIP balance. Okay. The auditor also noticed that the company has obsolete inventory of 175,000, which had an estimated realizable value of the 50,000, and the company has valued it as cost in its financial statements. Just a moment. Yes, company has valued it as cost in its financial statements. Okay. Has a absolute inventory of 175 and the realizable value is 50,000. And what is the value of the inventory? 175. Now, during the review of PPE, the audit team noted that the company included 105,000 for employee benefit related to the acquisition of PPE and 125,000 for testing the functionality of the equipment, offset by 35,000 received from the sale of the samples produced during the testing. Varma and Associates derive a significant portion of their income from royal constructions amounting to 10 lakh, which represents 65% of their revenue. Despite finding financial discrepancies of 3 lakh in the company accounts, the partners decided to overlook these issues to maintain their lucrative relationship with the client. Right? So there seems to be a self-interest threat over here, their lucrative relationship with the client. Now, Royal Construction Limited should value the obsolete inventory at cost or NRV, whichever is lower. So what is the NRV? 50,000. So what does it say? It has to be valued at 50,000. It should be written off completely? No. What amount should be included in the cost of PPE in the financial statements? Right? So what is the cost they have over there? The 1,25,000, right? 1,05,000 for the employee benefit related to the acquisition and offset by the 35,000. If you do 125, 1,05,000, you put 2,30,000 minus the 35,000, which comes to 1,95,000. Right? Because that much the sale has been done from the samples produced during the testing. Right? So 1,05,000 plus 1,25,000 minus 35,000. Okay. And what potential threat to the independence of Varma and Associates arises? Of 10 lakh, obviously it's a self-interest, right? Because they have the fear of losing the client. Okay. And now coming to some general MCQs over there. RJ and Associates Chartered Accountants has been auditing the books of GP Resorts Private Limited for the past 2 years. GP Resorts Private Limited has experienced a significant increase in the visitor due to a successful marketing campaign. This increase in the number of visitors has prompted the resort to introduce new services such as event hosting, which contribute to higher revenue. Whether RG and Associates would issue a revised audit engagement letter to the GP Resorts Private Limited, right? So circumstances where auditor is required to send a new engagement letter. Right? So one, it says no engagement letter is not required. New engagement letter is not required. Yes, the auditor is required to issue a new engagement letter for each period. Or yes, a new engagement letter is required due to the significant change in the nature and size of the business, and it is not required. So there is a significant change in the nature and size of the business, That is why a new engagement letter is required. Okay. Tad and Associates, the sole proprietor firm of Agamya, is offered appointment as an auditor of a company engaged in the manufacturing of automobile components for the first time. She is checking the facts about the integrity of the promoters, also checking the competence of the staff to perform the engagement. And then the appointment is accepted. So what are they trying to do? Preliminary engagement activities as per SA 300. So Agamya is establishing audit strategy, designing audit plan, checking compliance. No, is conducting the PEA, the preliminary engagement activities. And the last one over there, a practicing PA has been engaged by a company to perform certain procedure regarding its trade payable. Such AUP, agreed upon procedures, SRS 4400. Include verification of purchases from related parties, sending confirmation letters, and reporting the factual discrepancies to the management of the company. Which of the following statement is correct in this context? Right? The practicing CA shall perform the work as per the SRS and the SA, will perform the work as per the SRS and the SQC, shall perform the work as per SA, will perform the work as per SAE and SQC. So obviously it has to be the SRS, and it is SRS and not SA, but the SRS and the SQC one, right? And the SQC one. So that is why the correct option would be B. Right? So see, just one particular, set of MCQs over there can give you a ground base of the touch with the reality, right? Regarding how much of these particular MCQs you are able to answer and know. And just one piece of advice regarding MCQs before we come to these other discussion, that never ever see the answer of the MCQs before you try to think of an answer on your own. Never ever try to see the answer, oh, it's written B, and then you just convince yourself why it is B. There will be no learning curve for you at all. Even if you solve 1,000 MCQs in this manner, it won't be of any use. But even if you solve 200 MCQs with the mindset of you are thinking on your own, what should be the answer? You thought B, and then it is written over your C. And then you try to understand what went wrong in my thinking, or you already thought of B and B was the answer. So you are able to be confident. Yeah, I have been thinking on the right track. That's only what is going to be effective. That self-discipline, that urge is there, oh, let me see the answer and then get convinced. No, not because you're losing on the opportunity to learn or assess it. If you give the wrong answer, be super happy, because if you would have not given the wrong answer right now, you would have committed that error in the exam. Right? So, as a very important thumb rule, please, please, please do not ever read the answers of the MCQ unless and until you have thought of an answer on your own. Okay, right. And other, like sometimes, in the exam question paper, you see these big case study questions being put over there. Question number 3A, bhar bhar ke 8-10 lines are written. And in the last line of the question, there is a sentence written. One trick, one tip which I can probably share with you over here, कि बहुत ही रामायण महाभारत too much of written. So what you do, just read the last line of the question first. And बहुत बार ऐसे होता है, you read the last line and you come to know, oh, simple, they are asking circumstances for sending new engagement letter, 7 changes and 1 misunderstanding. So doesn't matter what is written over here at all. If you end up reading all that story, you waste your time over there, and unnecessarily you get to carried away by that story, which has no relevance to the answer written. Or sometimes when you read that line and then you realize, oh my God, no, only reading last line is not helping. Then you again come back to the entire. But preference would be what? Okay, first see that, so this will help you to take time. Sometimes, the integrated case scenarios are also like this. Okay, no need to read the entire case scenario. You just read the question and you are able to answer. No, not always, but yeah, sometimes. But for the theory part of the paper, it happens a lot. It's no story, it's no drama. And say, oh my God, this is what they had to ask. Right? So this is one trick which could help you to save the time. You just eliminate the part of the story writing that they've done. Read the last line of the question first. If that is serving your purpose, go ahead. Nahi ho raha hai usse, so then you go and read the case study. You follow? You follow, right? What I say. Okay. Right. So now let us come to the